Welcome back, everyone. We are here today, episode 2182 of the Cabral concept. We are going to be going over how to become fat adapted. That is the topic of today's show. A lot of people out there trying to burn more body fat, get in shape, and improve their overall wellness-based markers. So what I want to share with you here today is, well, first, I want to bust some myths. So we're going to go over why you don't even need to be low carb in order to be fat adapted. A lot of people have been led to believe falsely that they need to be low carb in order to become fat adapted. And I want to share with you why that is not the truth. But really the second is that you want to be fat adapted. So I just want to share that. It's like, this is something that we all do want, whether you want to burn body fat or not. And the reason why you want to become more fat adapted, which by the way, simply means that you're able to tap into body fat stores adequately, because you're not always burning sugar. Again, part of that's a little bit of a myth. We'll share that in just a moment as well. This is certainly a follow-up show that builds off of last week. So if you did not listen to episode 2175, I will link up everything today at stephencabral.com/2182. But you definitely want to listen to, you don't need to be in ketosis to burn fat. That was last week's show. This is a more in-depth follow-up, and also not any type of keto rant or anything like that. I'll simply share the actual truth and the basis behind all of this. But the reason why you do want to be fat adapted, whether you're looking to burn body fat, lose weight or not, is that when you are tapping predominantly into body fat, that you are better stabilized in terms of two things: energy and mood. So I think of it as kind of mind and body stabilized energy. No highs and lows, no big fluctuations. You're able to work a full normal day, 8 hours, 10 hours or so, and you don't have these wild ups and downs in energy throughout the day. It's very important. A lot of it has to do with nutrition, and we're certainly going to be talking about that in just a moment. But being fat adapted also enables you to stay in a fasted state and maybe even miss a meal. Or if you do what I do, you will sometimes, 3 out of 4 Mondays a month is what I do it. I end up going 24 hours for a fast, Sunday night to Monday night. And it's very simple. It's very straightforward. I simply don't eat on Mondays, right? I eat at dinner on Monday night, and I stop on that Sunday night before, and that's 24 hours. So I still get to have dinner with my family at night, which is nice. And it's very simple, very straightforward. You can do the 1-day reset diet that I've talked about before. That's a great one, and I definitely recommend that, especially for people that are not well. They have difficulty stabilizing blood sugar. They still have a lot of toxicity issues. If you're a beginner as well. So the 1-day reset, we'll link that up today at stephencabral.com/2182. So it enables you to, if you're in a fasted state, you shouldn't have massive highs and lows. You might have some hunger. There's no doubt about that. You might have some hunger, but you should very well be able to tap into body fat. And feeling a little bit of hunger is actually a sign like, oh, well, okay, we are now actually tapping more into body fat. It's unlikely you're feeling hungry if you have high levels of blood sugar. It's possible, but it's unlikely, right? We'll talk more about blood sugar in a moment. Speaking of that, if you are a fat burning machine, right? If you become fat adapted, well, you most likely have balanced blood sugar as well. And if you do need to lose weight, the weight is going to come more from body fat than it is muscle tissue. And that's extremely important because you might not care right now as long as you see the scale moving down and down and down and down. But trust me, you will when your metabolic rate goes down, down, and down, and down, because you're going to be able to eat less food, less calories as each month progresses. Because if you eat any more than that, or even maintain the same calories, what happens is you start to gain weight at your plateau. We don't want that, right? Because you're losing muscle mass. So I'll talk about that in my 4 ways to become fat adapted in just about 2 minutes. But before I get to that, I want to share with you that again, just to kind of reiterate, last week I went in depth. So if you want the in-depth, I would definitely listen to 2175. But there's all this confusion. There's like this dogma, which is the strangest thing. It used to be like if you didn't do CrossFit, you weren't getting a great workout. It's just kind of like that was a dogmatic thinking. I don't have really have a problem with CrossFit. I really don't. I have a problem with the belief that every workout has to be your hardest workout in the world. I mean, I certainly have an issue with that. If there's no periodization model, it kind of goes against one of the tenets of good athletic training, personal training, is that there's progressive overload, and every week is not crushing your body. So anyway, I digress. It's just I had the largest functional medicine wellness center in Boston that was literally above a CrossFit. It was diagonally above a CrossFit. And I saw some of the top CrossFit athletes, and I saw what the workouts were doing to their hormone levels, and for women causing estrogen dominance and low thyroid, and for men causing low testosterone and DHEA and accelerated hair loss and moodiness, all of those things, brain fog. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. Again, I'm not against CrossFit. I'm against overdoing things. That's basically, I mean, I've always said that. I'm against overdoing. I love nutritional supplements. I'm a huge advocate. They help me get well, but I don't believe in overdoing nutritional supplements. Like, I don't think you need 25,000 IUs of vitamin A day. I just don't think that you need that, right? I just think that's a bit overboard, because you're going to be getting it from your orange or red-based foods, and that's going to be included with your fruits and vegetables. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole, but it's the same thing with low-carb diets or keto, meaning like you can become fat adapted without being in ketosis. I think that's really important, because even when you were in ketosis, you are not necessarily fat adapted. You are what we refer to as keto adapted. That means your body is very effectively burning ketones, kind of AKA fatty acids, as a fuel source. And that's what being in ketosis means. It actually means that your body, your liver, is producing ketones. Okay, so that means you're burning those as fuel. Well, the interesting thing, just to share with you this, that let's say you put exogenous ketones in your body, right? So there's nutritional supplements where you can put ketones in your body. And sometimes people use those because they gives them a boost in brain power, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I won't get into that today. But what that means is that you don't need to break down then more body fat. And most people have never been told that. So if you take exogenous ketones, at least while they're floating around your blood and you're using them, you've essentially stopped having to create lipolysis or breaking down more body fat, right? To bring to your liver for fatty acids to create ketones, right? So if you're already adding them and your body doesn't need to make them, well, you're not breaking down more body fat. It's kind of like, again, men are using testosterone replacement therapy way too early in life. Maybe your mid 60s, maybe at a very small dose to get you back to like 25 years old. Maybe I still, in our practice, we see the majority of men able to just use certain supplementation lifestyle protocols to get their testosterone high enough. But anyway, again, that's a topic for another day. We'll get to that. So what I share with you is this, though. If you take exogenous testosterone from outside your body, you take a testosterone hormone, your body's going to stop producing testosterone. It's the same thing. You're just not going to burn body fat if you're taking in excess ketones. And if you're taking in excess testosterone to what your body would typically produce, you stop producing testosterone. That's the way things work. So I just wanted to share that. Now, again, I'm not saying that you can't be in ketosis and burn body fat. Of course you can. If you're in ketosis, you've most likely used up your liver glycogen, and you were tapping into body fat. No doubt about that. So I'm not saying that, but I just want to create nuances here, because we have people doing our 21-day functional medicine detox and in phase 1 of our Fatlocity plan, and they may dip in and out of ketosis, no doubt about it, but it's not necessarily the goal to be in ketosis. The goal is to actually become fat adapted, right? To burn more body fat. So whatever diet you like, fantastic. Again, fantastic. What I want to do is share with you, though, how to become fat adapted, whether you are doing a low carb diet or not. And the first one is this. So let's get into those. Well, I just want to share with you, they're all meant to do one thing. All right. So I should give you the basis behind this. If you want to become fat adapted, you need to be able to control blood sugar and insulin. Okay. So if your blood sugar is elevated, you're going to have a very difficult time tapping into more body fat. It's just the way that it is. You've got plenty of glucose to burn in your bloodstream. Your body doesn't need to go and even break down more liver glycogen to turn into glucose. It doesn't need to do that, right? And it doesn't really need to get too involved with breaking down a lot more body fat, because you have all this glucose to use as well. So you have to be able to use insulin. So your pancreas will produce that insulin. And the insulin, though, needs to have open cell receptor sites to be able to unlock the cells to shuttle in the glucose that's in your blood into those cells, that they can use that for mitochondrial energy, or again, if there's excess of it, potential fat storage. So that's really what we're looking at, is balancing glucose and insulin, blood sugar and insulin. Okay. So when we bring blood sugar levels down to a normal glucose level, typically between a 75 and let's say a 95 on a glucometer, we like ours in our practice between a 70 and a 90, or a 75 and a 90, is a good sweet spot to be in. Well, your body's not going to be excessively producing insulin, right? So if glucose is low and then insulin doesn't need to be produced at the same high level, then great. Now we are able to start burning more body fat. All right. So that's how we become more fat adapted, just at a foundational level. So the very first way and the best way to do that is to fast overnight for 12 to 16 hours. I have so many shows in intermittent fasting. I would love you to check those out. Here's the thing. I'll link them up today. If you go to stephencabral.com/2182, we have a whole podcast category on intermittent fasting. It's also on iTunes. If you look up intermittent fasting by Stephen Cabral, you'll find that as well. So 12 to 16 hours, so much easier than you think. Stop eating at 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Start eating again at 7, 8 o'clock the next morning. That'll be 14 hours. You can go a little bit longer if you choose to. And I have all the pros and cons of going longer as well. All right, so we need to fast 12 to 16 hours a day. There's always contraindications for some people, but it's very, very few people that can't fast for 12 to 16 hours a day. Again, not giving any medical advice. So if you have medical-based issues and you can't fast that long, please do speak with your medical doctor. All right. So I have lots of podcasts on fasting. I'll link those up. The second way, though, to become fat adapted and really master insulin, because again, that's what we're talking about, is to get blood sugar levels down in the first place, right? And one of the best ways to do that is to deplete glycogen reserves. So I don't think you need to go crazy and do high intensity interval training every single day of the week. However, if your body's balanced and it's healthy, I do think that some high intensity interval training or a good strength-based, resistance-based workout 3 times a week, maybe even 4 if you feel like it, every other day is going to help you deplete those levels. Why? Because when you do anaerobic exercise, you deplete glycogen reserves. Okay. So that your body's going to use up some of that sugar in order to perform a strength-based, fast glycolysis-based exercise. So basically just something that takes less than a minute to complete before your body fails, right? Before you get tired. Okay. But the cardio that I talked about on Monday's episode, if you tuned into my Mindset and Motivation Monday, the cardio, believe it or not, actually lowers, there's the Boston accent coming out there. It lowers blood sugar better than almost anything else in terms of exercise. So yes, going for a walk after a meal helps with that. Going for a jog, a bike ride will all help lower glucose that's in the bloodstream. So if you ever see your blood and you take your glucometer, right, you can just use a glucometer right at home. It's like $20 you can buy. We'll link one up today as well. But really, you can just go to stephencabral.com/resources and find all of those fun gadgets there. But if you ever see it elevated, go for a walk. Go for a 20-minute walk, or better yet, go for a light jog, and that will help bring that down. All right? So exercise, without a doubt, is going to help balance out those blood sugar levels. Now, number 3 is this. Lower your carbs if your fasting blood sugar, meaning when you wake up in the morning, is above a 95 or 100. All right? Again, you're going to want to most likely lower your carbs. It doesn't mean you need to be carbohydrate free, but you can certainly eat still a lot of vegetables and most likely some berries. And I would do, though, the functional medicine detox. Again, I'm not giving medical advice, but I would do the 21-day functional medicine detox. And then if you have more weight to lose, move on to the Fatlocity plan. And that's going to kind of walk you through it anyways. But there's another, and then because you don't want to do this forever, right? I've talked about this before. You don't want to really lower your carbs too low for more than 3 weeks at a time, 4 weeks maximum, especially for women. All right. And then the 3-hour glucose window. So after a meal, if your blood sugar is still up, we have to be able to control that to a greater degree. So whatever we ate at that meal, we do want to make sure that it wasn't too high in carbohydrates or refined carbohydrates, okay? And number 4 is this. You want to make sure that your thermostat of the body has been boosted. The thermostat produces essentially a lot of the thermogenic based effects. So it helps with circulation, heat in the body, burning calories, etc. Think of it like adding more wood to a furnace, right? It's going to make a bigger fire. Well, if your furnace is small, or if you only put in one piece of wood, then there's not going to be a very big fire. Same thing goes with your thyroid. If your thyroid is suboptimal because you have elevated levels of stress or inflammation in the body for whatever reason it may be, then you may very well have low levels of functional thyroid, meaning a TSH above a 2, or low free T4, low free T3. Or you might have high levels of estrogen causing you to retain water, add more body fat. You might have lower levels of testosterone from stress. You might have higher levels of cortisol, if I haven't already mentioned that. So you want to be able to balance those, because that is what's going to allow you to ultimately really tap into body fat and be more fat adapted as well. There's a simple at-home lab test you can run to look at your own levels. That does come with a consultation and plan, and that is called the Stress Hormones Immunometabolism Test. You can run that with your level 2 integrative health practitioner, or you can go to stephencabral.com/hormones-test for that lab to be shipped right to your home as well. So these are all the 4 ways to essentially balance blood sugar, lower insulin levels appropriately, and tap into more body fat. So as you'll see, that it does not require you for being low carb, especially not for very long, and it'll enable you to be able to tap into body fat to get all of the benefits that you do want. Again, it goes well beyond. It's not just about body transformation. It's about overall health. So if you want balanced mood, you want balanced energy, you want to be able to fast and skip a meal without crashing, and you want to be able to just keep overall balanced blood sugar levels, becoming more fat adapted is something that you definitely want to look into more. So hopefully today's show is helpful. Lots of shows, like I said, on exercise, on intermittent fasting, on thyroid. So all of those are available at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can scroll through the images at the top for your favorite category. Or today's show is at stephencabral.com/2182. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day.